Proton as a brand is synonymous with saloons, and we've waited a very long time to see a new generation saloon from our favorite national car maker. This is the new Proton S70, the first saloon based off of a Geely vehicle. With a 1.5-litre turbocharged engine up front, a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic in the middle, and a bunch of technical innovations that lie beneath the skin, is this now the new mass-market model for Proton? Is this about to be a sales success? Well, we're going to take a quick walk around at its exclusive media preview of the new Proton S70. Now, in terms of the S70's design, this is based on the Geely M Grand, which is a C segment or B plus segment saloon. Now, as you can see, Proton has done a little bit of tweaking to the design in order to make the car look a little bit more Malaysian. We have the ethereal bow framing, a new grille, a new iteration of the infinite weave, replete with the songket pins. Or that's what they want us to believe. What is worth noting here is that you do have this contrasting material around the grille, which is again repeated on the lower front valance. This is not chrome, instead it's sort of a satin silver, which is a unique choice, the first we've seen from Proton for that matter. Now, flanking that grille, you'll find a set of full LED headlights replete with automatic high beam with LED indicators as well. A cute function of these lights is there is a little pattern that it does, a little dance that it does whenever you lock and unlock the vehicle in order to make the car look a little bit more welcoming. Now, from the side of the S70, you can really appreciate this car's proportions. It has a very typically 3-box saloon design, the bonnet and boot with a little passenger section in the middle. And as far as I'm concerned, this car does look quite elegant from this particular angle. Now, this is the new Teal Bayou Green, which is the hero color for the S70, although you can get a variety of different colors. The vehicle that we're filming today is the Flagship X, which is the most expensive model, which can be denoted by the sunroof. Now, in terms of side design, you will notice that there are 17-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Goodyear Assurance Triple Max 2 tires, which are a pretty decent choice given the fact that these cars are going to be used predominantly by people who may be traveling distances and so on. And from what I understand, these tires are particularly good at water dispersal, which should help make things a little bit safer when it rains. And you will find that there is a gentle taper down to a very prominent boot lid. Proton has resisted the urge of making a fastback design for this. I've no doubt this is a little bit more practical. Other embellishments include a little bit of chrome down underneath the windows, and you also find this chrome button here for the keyless entry. But given the fact the S70 runs a turbocharged engine, I've no doubt that the majority of you will be looking at this view more than anything else. And mercifully, it is a pretty nice view. You do not get a set of fake exhaust pipes. Instead, you get a rather interesting looking diffuser type element down below, and on top you have this rather snazzy looking LED light bar, although this is not standard across the range. This is variant specific. Now, these are not full LED units. The brake lights and the positioning lights are of course LED, but the indicators and reverse lights are bulbs in case that matters to you. There is a release button back here, and the boot doesn't pop all the way open, but at least it is mercifully light. Now, behind this, you will reveal 500 litres of space, expandable further by the 60/40 folding rear seats, although there are no latches or catches back here in order to release those seats. You'll have to do it from inside. Now, in terms of the space, there is a pretty decent lip to this, but the space itself is quite wide and it's quite deep, which means you should be able to fit luggage for, balik kampung trips quite easily, as well as golf bags should you need them. And underneath the boot floor, you will find a space saver spare wheel, which to some B segment saloon buyers matters a hell of a lot. Now, so far the exterior of the S70 is very predictable. It's snazzy and smart, but it's predictable. What about the interior? It's not that predictable in the sense that there are some very familiar elements, but there are also some new ones. So the steering wheel, for example, is lifted directly off of the X50. It's flat bottom and all the buttons and switches are all rather nice and tactile to use. And it is leather wrapped as well, which is always nice to see. The infotainment system, as well as the driver's information display, all of this is lifted directly from the X90, which means you get the very latest Atlas GK-UI, which is snappy and easy to use, and comes with the majority of the functions that you're looking for and does control the majority of the functions of the vehicle, but still doesn't offer Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Now, in terms of the driver information display, again, it is lifted from the X90, which means you get rather nice, refreshing graphics, and you even get a display that shows what the car can see at any given time via this vehicle's level 2 semi-autonomy systems, which is always nice to see. Unfortunately, in terms of customizability, it is relatively limited, and there are some little typographical idiosyncrasies here and there. Now, in terms of other accoutrements, you're going to find this nice soft touch material on the front of the dash, which Proton says is meant to mimic Somket design. Again, up here you'll find more soft touch materials replete with some fake stitching to make the car look and feel a little bit more premium. Unfortunately, it does not extend to the door cards, which are rather annoyingly very hard plastic in the majority of places. There is at least some soft touch material underneath your elbow, which is nice to see, and there's more soft touch material here. You will find that there's a lot more of this satin silver about the place, which again helps to give the car a slightly more upmarket feel, and that extends into the door handles, which are painted plastic. Now, in terms of other accoutrements, you will find that there is an electronic gear selector, again taken from the X90, but this frees up space underneath the center console for a little bit more space. You have a 12-volt socket here, a wireless charger up here, you have a USB-A port here, and a USB-C port hiding somewhere here that I cannot seem to find. You get a couple of cup holders here, replete with one down here, which is a lot deeper and removable, it seems. That was an entirely surprising thing for me. And you also, of course, get an electronic parking brake. All of your controls are very sensibly laid out. So far, so good. However, given that this is a saloon, it would have been nice to have paddle shifters to control the 7-speed dual clutch automatic. Now, in this flagship model, the driver's seat is powered. The passenger seat is not, and you cannot get a powered passenger seat no matter where you go, and finding a decent driving position shouldn't be too hard because the steering wheel is both reach adjustable, which means finding a comfortable driving position should be just fine. Now, with this seat set up in my driving position, as you can see, I have a pretty good amount of knee room and a decent amount of headroom. Again, the benefit of not going with a fastback roofline. Space back here is pretty alright. I can just about tuck my feet in underneath the seat in front of me, provided that this seat is set up a little bit higher. The passenger seat, however, does not really have that option, and so passengers on that side may struggle a little bit. The seat base on this car is a reassuringly deep sort of length, which means you do get decent under-thigh support provided you stretch out. You have a couple of rear aircon vents, a mandatory feature in cars in Malaysia, and you also get a USB-A and USB-C port here, which I can locate. Now, of course, there are ISOFIX mounts on either side, and these doors do open a decent size, which means putting in a bulky rear-facing child seat shouldn't be too much of a faff. But if you do have 3 passengers sat back here, you're going to find that the floor is surprisingly low. It's not flat, but there is actually space for a 3rd passenger to be sat back here, although of course it is a little bit of a perch and it's not as wide as the outer seats. If you only have 2 rear passengers, you're going to find that these seats are nice and comfy. They are scalloped, and so you do actually have a decent amount of side support. The headrests are a nice, comfortable position, and they're nice and squishy, and of course you have a deployable center armrest with a couple of cup holders. You've got bottle holders here, you've got a little pocket up here. Overall, pretty much okay. The same issues in the front extend to the rear, where again you have lots of hard touch plastics about the place, but honestly, if this car isn't priced too high, this should be okay. Now, under the bonnet, you're going to find a very familiar 1.5-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder MPI engine, which produces 150-ish PS and 226 Newton-meters of torque, with power going to the front wheels via a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. If you'd like to see this engine in action, check out our video up here. But with the S70, Proton is also raising the bar in terms of safety, because this takes the same safety systems that we've seen from the X90 and applies a little bit more refinement. So these vehicles offer full level 2 semi-autonomy systems, which means it's got lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, 360-degree camera, pedestrian and cyclist detection for the AEB, as well as adaptive cruise control with stop and go, among many other functionalities. Now, what's worth noting is that the radar guided cruise control and so on is actually maintained via a camera rather than a radar module in the front of the car, which means there is a little bit of a limitation in terms of its usability in adverse weather conditions. However, what is very clear is that the Proton S70 is very well specified for what we expect to be a competitive price. Now, at the time of filming, Proton has yet to release any confirmed prices for the S70, but we expect it to be somewhere between 80 to 110,000 ringgit. And at that price point, this C-segment Saloon will go up against non-national B-segment vehicles like the Toyota Vios and the Honda City, among many others. Now, compared to those cars, this car does have a more advanced powertrain, a slightly more complete and comprehensive safety suite, as well as obviously the additional size and practicality. So let us know what you think about the new Proton S70 in the comment section below, but that wraps up our walk around and media preview of the new Proton S70. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to be notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can check out our WhatsApp channel. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next one. Take care and stay safe.